welcome to Clarity to Calling. So excited to have you here. This is a space that has been especially designed to help you get the clarity that you need to become fully the person God has called you to be. Got some great information for you in this session. So we're going to jump right in. Listen, if this information resonates with you in any way, I'm going to ask you to do me a huge favor. I need you to subscribe. This helps me get this message out in the world so more people can hear what I'm talking about, because I believe that God has a word that He wants people to hear so we can add more value, and I can do my part helping people advance and grow and become the fullness of who God created them to be. I want to share with you on this episode from this thought, your next chapter awaits. I believe you can sense there is a longing and a desire and a stirring in your soul for a new chapter. I know exactly the feeling. I know what it feels like to feel like you're stuck in a season and you're praying and you're believing God for something to change. If you've been doing the same, that you're on the brink of a new chapter unfolding in your life, a new chapter God is calling you to step into in this season of your life. We're in 2026, and I believe that the things that didn't happen last year, the boxes that you wasn't able to check last year, you're going to be able to check those boxes this year, because God is going to allow you to step into a new chapter. But what does that look like? And that's what I want to talk to you about in this session here, because we hear about new chapter, we hear about new season, but what exactly does that mean? What is the process to that? And that's what I want to talk to you about, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process to realizing this new chapter that you feel stirring in your spirit and you're praying about and you're believing for, and you sense that the season that you're in has either come to a close or you feel you're getting to the end and there's something more on the horizon that God is speaking into your spirit about and showing you, and you may be having dreams about it, or you may be getting confirmation and you feel like there is a new season. There is something on the horizon in my life, and I want to speak to those areas to really help you get more clarity surrounding this new chapter that you may be sensing in your life. So let's talk about this new chapter that awaits you in this new chapter that you're about to step into. The first thing I want to talk about, I really want you to get clear on what is clarity, because clarity is the beginning of your next chapter. It's the foundation. If you don't have clarity, if you're not clear what God is saying as it relates to this new chapter, you're not going to be able to step into it. You'll know that it's something God has given you a desire to step into, but you won't have the insight to know which direction to go in terms of what God is calling you to do and how God is calling you to posture yourself to be able to flow right into this new chapter. So let's talk about clarity. I want to define clarity for you so we can stay on the same page. I define clarity as divine insight. It's divine insight as to what He desires to unfold next in our life. Clarity is illuminating and aligning you to God's vision for your life. I want you to really get that. Clarity is God illuminating you and aligning your understanding to what He has planned as it relates to your next chapter and what you're about to step into. A lot of times when we think of new chapter, we think a new chapter means a new position, maybe a new career, maybe a new relationship. So those things are very surface when we're talking about a new chapter. It's not that it's not correct, it's just that it's not complete. So when we're talking about a new chapter, it's much deeper than that. At the core, when we're talking about a new chapter, it's not about a new position, it's about you becoming a new person. God is saying that He's more interested in the person you become than the position that you hold. So when we're talking about a new chapter, we're talking about the person at the core. A new chapter is all about the person that God is calling you to evolve into. New chapter is about new person. That's the way I want you to think of it. When you're talking about entering a new chapter, you're talking about becoming a different person. New chapter is symbolic of you evolving into a new and improved version of yourself. A new season is about personal evolution. It's about personal evolution. It's about you becoming a larger container to hold more of what God desires to empty into your life. I want you to really get that. So I'm going to repeat it. When we talk about you entering a new chapter, it is about you becoming a larger container to hold more of what God desires to bring into your life. Whenever God desires for us to be processed for a new chapter, he sends an invitation. And you sense that invitation. You sense that God is inviting you into more. And that invitation shows up like this. It shows up with disruption. I shared in one of my other videos that disruption is an indication that God is inviting you into a new season. So whenever you feel, and I want you to understand this, because if you don't understand this, you'll get blown away, and your initial reaction will be to start praying away, because you'll think that disruption is demonic, and it's not demonic. It's actually divine intervention. I want to say that again because I really want that to land with you, and I want it to really land in your spirit and stick in your spirit. The initial reaction when we sense disruption, when we sense things that are happening in our life, and disruption, discomfort, dissatisfaction, the initial thought that is demonic. Some of us been programmed, especially if you grew up in the church. There is a misconception and a mislabeling that whenever we're sensing discomfort, we immediately think that it's demonic. And it's not demonic. Oftentimes it's divine intervention. And we mislabel it. And because we mislabel it, we don't lean into it. And when you don't lean into what God is trying to do, what you're doing is you're pushing and repelling the very thing that you have been praying to show up in your life. Because when God shows up in our life as it relates to answering our prayer, it's often it shows up at the door wrapped in a package that's unfamiliar. And because it's wrapped in a package that's unfamiliar, the initial response is to reject it, to return to sender, if you will. And God is saying, that's me. I'm the one that's bringing disruption in your life. I'm the one that's bringing discomfort, because if I don't, otherwise you would be comfortable and you would stay in the same position that you're in. If you think back in your own life, if you just take a moment and think, and you look back over your life, some of the greatest blessings came on the other side of major challenges. Maybe you got fired from a job and got a better job, or you became an entrepreneur and you finally launched that business that you were afraid to launch, but God allowed that position to dissolve, or God allowed them to turn against you. You remember when God sent Moses to Pharaoh, give Pharaoh a message to let my people go. God tapped Moses on the shoulder and said, I want you to go down to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And when Moses accepted that challenge to be the deliverer of the children of Israel from the bondage of Egypt, when he accepted it, he was headed out the door to obey God. God said, oh, by the way, Moses, I've already hardened Pharaoh's heart to tell him not to let the people go. Wait, what? Wait a minute, God. You mean to tell me you want me to go down to Egypt, tell Pharaoh to let the people go? You're sending me on a mission. I've accepted the mission to go down and do and be obedient to what you said. And you're going to harden Pharaoh's heart, and you're going to make this a major challenge for me? It's already a big challenge, but wait a minute, God, I thought you was on my side. So I say that to say this right here. Oftentimes, when you experience disruption and hardship, especially when you've been praying for more, God uses that hardship. God uses that. And I'm not saying he sends it all the time, but he uses it. God never wastes an opportunity to help you mature. God uses that hardship. God uses that discomfort. God uses that disruption to cause you to expand and grow and become a larger container to hold what he desires to download in your life. Because the fact of the matter is, you're too small right now in this chapter of your life. You're too small to be able to hold what he desires to release in the next chapter. So in your process of getting to the next chapter, God has designed a path of expansion. On your way there to where he told you to go, there's a process of expansion on the journey to where you sense God is sending you. God is saying, yeah, I'm going to cause you to grow on the way. So by the time you get there, you'll be ready. You'll be prepared to handle and hold what I've already prepared for you in that next season, in that next chapter. Do you follow what I'm saying? I really want this to land with you because I believe that you're sensing this. You know God has so much for you. There's things I have not seen, ear have not heard, neither has it entered into your heart, the things that God has prepared for you because you love him. But you cannot skip over the processing. God has a process to get you to the next. And that process is about your development. That process is about your growth. That process is about your preparedness to be able to adequately hold and shoulder the weight of the blessing that's about to be emptied into your life. God is making you, I can't say this enough, I'm going to say it again. God is making you a larger container, making you larger to be able to handle the weight of what he's about to pour into your life. So at the core of going to the next chapter, it's not about positioning. When people think about the next chapter, they think about, okay, the next chapter, God's gonna give me more money and a better job or new career or business or whatever. That's my next chapter. That's what I see in the next chapter. And I'm not saying you don't see that, but what I want you to focus on, God is more vested in the person you become opposed to the position that you hold. I want you to get that. It's about growth, and it's about God causing you to be what he's called you to be. God is going to cause you to be what he's called you to be. I want you to really get that. So as you begin to move forward and you begin to sense a stirring in your spirit, you begin to sense frustration and you begin to sense all these things, I want you to know that is God's invitation for you to enter the process of getting ready for the next chapter. So the next chapter is not about anything that you do. I want you to get this. I want you to really get this here. I got to slow down because I want this to land really well with you. It's not about what you're going to be doing. So, the surface thought process is in this next chapter, I'm going to be doing this. In this next chapter, this next season, I'm going to be doing that and do. I'm not saying you're not going to do it, but that's not what we focus on right now. We're not going to jump over the process. In this next season is going to come out of you being, not doing. So God is saying, I need to cause you to become somebody so you can do. I need to cause you to become a person that can handle the doing. So that's what your next chapter is about. And that's why it's very important to get clarity. And that's my calling as a clarity coach. And that's what my purpose in life and my calling is, to walk alongside you, to journey with you through the process of clarity. Because again, all breakthrough begins with the moment of clarity. All breakthrough, I want you to get that. All breakthrough, the breakthrough you're seeking, the breakthrough you desire begins with the moment of clarity, a moment of divine insight. and direction from God. So God begins that process with clarity. He begins to illuminate and align your understanding with his vision for your life. God has a bigger dream for your life. You can't dream a dream bigger for your life than God can dream. So God already has a plan. Jeremiah 29:11, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. One translation says to give you a hope in the future. So God's saying, I have an expected end. I want you to watch this. God's expected end comes with expectations. God's expected end, the end that God has already set for you, what he has already laid for you, comes with expectation. There is something that God expects of you. And that expectation that he has of you requires growth. It requires getting prepared. It requires becoming a higher version. That's what the next chapter is about. It's going to be birthed out of you becoming a higher version of yourself. God is saying, I've got to grow you up. We don't get excited about that, I'll be honest, because that's not always what we like to focus on. What we rather focus on is the end result. We want to go from the one income to the larger income, the millionaire, especially when you look at social media today. Everybody is glorifying the stuff. They're not glorifying growth. They're not glorifying becoming the highest version of yourself. But if you want to experience sustainable, significant growth and become the person that make an impact in the lives of others and leave a mark in the world that will never be erased, you're going to have to focus on evolving and becoming the highest version of yourself. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about in this session. If you have not, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be bringing some more sessions. We're going to be building on this clarity, and we're going to be talking about more about evolution and evolving and becoming the highest version of yourself, because ultimately that's what it's going to take for you to live in a sustainable place of growth, a sustainable place of blessings, a sustainable place of wealth. And the key word is sustainable. If you want something that's real in your life, I'm not talking about something that looks shiny, but it's because everything that glitters is not gold. I'm not talking about something that looks shiny, but has no significance, has no substance. If you really want to be a person of substance, a person of significant value, then you're going to have to allow God to process you. It don't feel good, but it's good for us. God don't want to hurt or harm us, but as Jeremiah 29 says, he wants to give us a hope in the future, not to hurt us, not to harm us. And we have to go through process. And that's not the central message that we're hearing now. We're hearing everything is quick in a hurry. You'll be a millionaire overnight and all these things. I'm not knocking entrepreneurship and wealth and having these desires and working. I'm not knocking any of that. Don't get me wrong, because I think that has its place. But we cannot focus on that at the expense of our growth. We have to make sure that we do this thing the way God is requiring it, so we can ultimately become the person that he has called us to be and do the work that he has sent us here to do. The reason why we were born is to make an impact in the world. So I'm going to be sharing more with you. Again, let me do a quick recap. We talked about clarity. This whole channel is about clarity. I'm a clarity coach. I help people get clear on what God is saying to them and help them gain the clarity, the divine insight, divine direction, so they can move their life forward and experience sustainable growth, sustainable wealth, sustainable abundance in their life, doing it God's way. God is never going to pass over an opportunity to help you grow and develop, because again, it is God's desire that you evolve and become the highest version of who he created you to be. You can never, I'm going to say it again, you can never dream a bigger dream than God has for your life. But God's expected end, God's desire for our life comes with requirements. And that requirements means every step of the way, God is going to reserve for himself an opportunity to cause you to grow, to cause you to develop, to cause you to grow to a higher version of yourself. I'm going to be sharing more with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If it resonated with you in any way, I want you to do me two things, two favors. I want you to subscribe and I want you to comment. Let me know in what way this video resonated with you. If you have any comments that relates to the video and what I've shared, I want you to leave that comment, subscribe to the video, like the video. That helps it get out more so it can be an impact to more people out there that need to hear the message of clarity, that are on the same journey that you and I are on. That's a journey of evolving and becoming the highest version of who God created us to be. We'll see you on the next video. I look forward to bringing you some more information, and we look forward to sharing more clarity with you so you can become all that God has created you to be.